What's up, good people? Precious S. Carter here. Listen, what if the real fight in your marriage was not with your husband, but in fact it's with the enemy that has an agenda that's sent to destroy you both, right? The enemy attacks marriage so fiercely because marriage is a covenant that was designed by God to reflect His and Christ's relationship with the church. It's a union that's marked by love, sacrifice, unity, and purpose. And so when marriages are strong, families are stable, children are nurtured, and communities grow healthy. But when marriages break down, it creates division and disorder. It disrupts God's plan for unity and agreement. It causes emotional and generational pain because it affects children and their future relationships. And before you know it, we have a generation of people that don't want to be married because they've seen all of the trauma and marriages that didn't handle the spiritual warfare that happened in marriage correctly. They saw a lot of abuse. They saw a lot of abandonment. They saw a lot of marriages being disrupted, causes spiritual distractions. It pulls you away from your calling and God's purpose for your life. You start to be very self-centered. You want to have the thought and the mindset of, to your own self be true, or do as you will. And if you didn't know, that is actually a Satanist mantra. And also it weakens your witness because healthy God-centered marriages are simply a testimony of God's love and His grace and His mercy. So basically what's happening is when a marriage is attacked, it's a strategy to undermine God's order. It's to silence His kingdom legacy, and it's to destroy the foundation of society. Remember, marriage is the first institution that God created, and it's the last one that He mentions in the Bible. And that's why you got to be very vigilant spiritually. That's why you got to be very intentional about your communication. That's why you have to live and protect your covenant. It has to be like the very anchor and the very foundation of what you do as a wife. Is your job. Okay? That's it. It's just something that I wanted you to think about. And since I have a few minutes before my 3 minutes is up, a few seconds anyway, I want you to think about when the people were building the Tower of Babel, God actually confounded their language because He understood that the agreement and the unity that was happening, they would have actually been able to be successful with building that tower. And that was not for them to do. So unity is important. Marriage still matters. Covenant is your first calling as a wife, okay? I love you, and there is nothing that you can do about it. But I do want you to tag somebody who you think needs to hear this. Tag somebody who knows that marriage is still important. I love you. Nothing you can do about it.